Well, welcome back, you guys. Just on my journey some more. Made it out to Santa Cruz. I have a new guest. You probably know this man. His name is Tom.
Yes,
He's a SE factor here in Santa Cruz for sure. Why don't you say what's up?
Hey, what's up, folks? Hey, greetings from a world that's built on hustling. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing this a long time, and I'm glad to be on here with our boy Slim doing the Urban Misfits podcast. This is shit.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, glad to have you on. It's been an exciting journey for sure so far. But kind of brings me to the first time I ever came out here.
Yeah.
And which I think it was the March ride.
Yeah, so before that, you came out one time before that with Henny, with your lady,
Yeah,
and you were on your
Shout
red
out to
line,
you.
and we took you out. I think it was right before the March ride because you got a little preview of the places we were going to go.
Oh yeah, I think that's right on.
Yeah, I was on that Big Mama bike that day. You'd never seen such a thing.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Where's that bike at?
We got big plans for that bike. It's all in pieces right now. It's
nice.
It's going to be the first 29-inch trike.
Oh,
so
what?
yeah, with gears, 7 speeds, baby.
Oh, that'll be tight.
Yeah. We're not messing around. So
how long is that build going to be in progress?
Not long. My wife changed gears on me on that thing. Said she didn't want to. You know, we did it. We built it for the dog and Fredo. He's a 125-pound Mastiff and Pit. So she's gonna haul him around in it. But realized that probably wasn't such a good idea. So we're gonna make a trike with a platform on it for Fredo to ride on. And, so yeah, we tore it down about 3 weeks ago and getting wheels laced up right now since they don't make 29-inch trike wheels. You know, we've got Debo, Damon, the Volkswagen guy.
I was just about to bring that up, yeah.
Yeah, he's over there lacing up some sick-ass wheels for me right now for that thing. Should have it on the road. I'm hoping to debut it on Thanksgiving up there in Sacramento at that Appetite Enhancement ride.
That would be tight.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
So how, I was impressed, like, when I came down here to see, like, the Bikelife scene that's out here. And you guys, like, started it, right?
Yeah. I mean, what you see here in Santa Cruz is, you know, a direct derivative of, you know, our love for the bike life and our love for the scene. You know, when we started doing this, we were riding bikes, always riding bikes. Keith and I, my son. There's another young guy around here named One Wheel Cody. Cody's like one of the OGs, been doing it forever kind of a thing. Nice. And, you know, then Jason Scott came into the area and we went out and supported everybody's rides. We'd go down to LA a lot. We'd travel a lot. And we like that. You know, we like the 4130 Subway Series rides. They always put it on. You know, the 41 Thursday guys are always kicking it out down there. We love riding the Strand. The culture down there is just super strong. So, but we were never about trying to do something here. You know, it was just like, seemed like too much work. But Jason really living over here, working over here, riding with us every day. We started talking about, you know, hey, wouldn't it be cool? And so we decided that we were going to do something. Then we started doing Wednesday nights. You know, we picked a night of the week, and you know, we said, look, we're gonna try this thing. And the first Wednesday night ride we did, we had 4 of us standing there with us: me, Jason, Cody, and Keith. You know, looking at each other, wondering if, you know, is anybody ever going to come out and join us? You know, is this going to, you know, just be us?
Sure.
And you know, fast forward to our last big ride out in August. I think we had well over 1,000 people on the street.
Dude, yeah,
it was, you know,
that was big,
kind of epic, you know. And so yeah, we've grown this thing here. You know, it's all homegrown, and it's all because of the love of the bikes that everybody has. And you know, Santa Cruz is kind of a destination town, right? You know, so people want to come here anyway, and we've got a really strong culture locally here too of youngsters that ride. We're a little different than most of the places around, you know. Most of the places you're going to run into a lot of the older dudes that, you know, they're reliving their youth a little bit.
Sure.
You know, which is good because that's what I was doing. You know, that's how I got my kid into it. And but here, it's you get a lot of these guys that are, you know, I call them guys, kids, whatever.
Right.
But you get a lot of these kids here that this isn't their only thing they do. You know, they skate, they surf, they, you know.
Oh, yeah, they're active out here.
Yeah. So, but we've got a huge culture of these guys that are really taken to the bike life. And so it's fun to go out and watch the youngsters here. And I know it irritates some of the older cats, but you know what? There's other places to ride. You know what I'm saying? So we're not exclusive here. We're inclusive. You know, we want to have everybody out and have a good time. And we do our own thing, and that's really what makes us a little different. But yeah, what you see here is what we built, and we really enjoy it. It's fun. That's what we,
Dude,
we
yeah,
kind of
it's
emphasize.
big rides for like a little town. You know what I mean? Like we were pretty impressed, and it's cool because the vibe down here is different too, which I've noticed is kind of different across the board with most areas. But there is like a lot of younger kids that ride down here for sure.
Yeah, a lot of younger kids and their skill levels. One of the things you don't see here is a lot of kids posting. I mean, they post. Everybody posts. Don't get me wrong, but it's not their life. When we're
Right.
out riding, and it's funny because a lot of the guys, we've got the cats from over the hill, the Ride Roots guys over there, Darren and Kevin, they come over and they like to ride with us just because they say, man, you guys just wild out. You're getting wild the whole time. And nobody's really worried about catching that clip. They're worried about catching
Having
that
fun.
wheelie or having
Yeah.
fun and catching a laugh with each other, So it's kind of different. That in itself is different. And that's what keeps it pure, in my opinion, for us here. Every area is different. And I think that a lot of the kids here have a different background too than some of the kids in other areas.
Sure.
And they just have different needs. You know what I'm saying? So, I dig on watching, my boys in Stockton, those kids, I love them. They're turning it up on a daily and they're showing the world what they're doing. And that's a good thing. People need to see that. They need to see the kids out there doing some positive, doing some things that aren't, criminal activities necessarily.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's the perception of most people about youth today
Right.
is, these little kids.
Little criminals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Up to no good, more or less.
Yeah,
Which-
no. And seeing
totally
it across the board in city to city, we travel all over, we've ridden bikes from everywhere from Harlem, to the Skid Row in Los Angeles. And we've seen it all. And I'll tell you, the one thing I see the most of in this thing is smiles, people having fun. And that's really what it's all about, and for us here, especially.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the amount of fun we have when we ride bikes will like allow you to put up with a lot of other stuff that happens around the rides and stuff that you don't like.
Right.
You'll not like it, but you're still going because it's that fun, dude. Like we're just on a different level of fun.
Yeah. And putting the rides on, we took this on a few years ago and decided that we wanted to really push this thing up here. And I knew from past experience with other things I've done in life that we were taking on a different responsibility, it was gonna change the way the fun we had at the rides.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we were going to have to be organized. One of my favorite things is we ride every Wednesday night here. Certain times of the year we do last Saturday rides. We don't always do it, but we're consistent every Wednesday, But, we'll do some last Saturday rides, probably about half a dozen a year. But my favorite thing about those rides is there is absolutely no plan. We don't have a route planned out. We don't, you know what I mean?
Just winging it.
Yeah. The road takes us where it takes us. And, no telling where we're going to end up or what we're going to do sometimes. And really, that's part of the fun. But when you do a big
you're
ride,
like almost exploring at that point.
yeah, right. You're out there exploring with 30 or 40 guys, and,
Right.
and just having a blast. And, this last week, unfortunately, we had a kid coming out on Wednesday night, stopped to get pizza with a couple of his buddies, got his bike stolen. So our Wednesday night ride turned into a bike hunt. Unfortunately, we didn't find the bike, but it was an adventure nonetheless. And we wound up doing things and riding places that we normally wouldn't ride because we were looking for that bike.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to change it up. But when you do the big rides, and that's why we only do it once a year. I hear people, crying out all the time, you need to do more, you need to do more.
It's going to take away from the big one.
Well, it takes away from the big one somewhat, and it's a lot of work, man. People don't realize,
Plotting out the route, making sure, I mean, if you let the city and the officials and stuff aware of what's going on, there's a lot of aspects to putting on those big rides, I've realized.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that it's easier to beg forgiveness and ask permission for.
Yeah,
And
totally.
Really, unfortunately, that's kind of how we operate here. We're not. They know who we are.
Right.
They know what we're doing. But we don't go to them and say, "Hey, this is what we're doing," because that just gives them an opportunity to say no.
No. Right. Yeah.
And we've only had a couple of incidents where unfortunately I've had to have conversation with the authorities. But when that's happened, it's always turned out cool. It's always been a positive thing in the end, right? I mean,
Sure.
what you seem, one of our kids, we lead in front of the chief of police a couple years ago on his way home. and that started a whole shitstorm, you know. But we were able to work through it, and they turn a blind eye to us here. I know that it's not that way everywhere,
Sure.
you know. So we're fortunate.
I mean, you've been doing it for a while too, so I'm sure like after a minute of you guys doing the big rides and stuff, like the law enforcement's got to see that. Sure, it's like kind of a nuisance temporarily, but nothing ever really comes about it other than we mess up traffic for a little while.
Yeah, and you know, I got a whole thing on that. So the people out there that are driving your cars, pay attention because this is important. 3 minutes to 30 seconds max, we're going to be in your life. Yeah. Enjoy the show. I mean, you know what exactly. I mean? Enjoy the show.
Enjoy the entertainment.
We're not going to hurt you. We're not there to cause any trouble. We're just passing by. And, you know, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, we're out of your life for good. You'll never see us again. And you'll get to go home and tell a story about something you saw that you'll never see again.
Yeah.
You know?
It gives you 3 minutes to forget that you were in traffic.
Yeah. Right?
Watching all these bikes.
And I know here, especially, you know, in the summer, people are stressed out. They get here. They're trying to do their thing with their family. It's a, you know, a beach town. It's a vacation spot. So they're not accustomed to that. And our infrastructure here, you know, we're a small town. We're not set up like Sacramento or some of these bigger towns. So the road infrastructure is pretty tight. And when we take over the whole city, you know, yeah, it can be stressful for the police. And I talk to them every year after we do the ride. You know, I'll go down and I'll talk to the captain and say, hey, what's up? And, you know, I'm curious because I want them to know, hey, we care. You know, my wife follows us around at the rides and picks up the garbage at every spot. You know, I mean, I wish that was something that we could get some of these, you know, people to do behind themselves is realize when you're in, you know, you don't shit where you sleep. So don't shit where someone else sleeps, you know, kind of a thing. Right.
Right.
So, and it's not everybody, don't get me wrong, but it happens enough that, and we care enough that we actually got a plan for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And because
you're taking steps.
Yeah, basically. We don't want to leave that behind for people to find and see and go, oh, but those guys. No, you know, it's not like that. So I always talk to the cops and I try to find out, you know, hey, how bad was our impact? And this last year, they had multiple phone calls. You can expect that, right? But they only had one report. And, you know, for as many people as we had here, and as much as that we had going on, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I'm not upset about that at all. It's you know, it's par for the course for what we do. You know, and we didn't get called to the principal's office, you know, necessarily. So it was all good. But we have a lot of fun doing it. I think the people that come here enjoy it, and enjoy what we do. We look forward to putting it on every year. We're going to continue doing it, you know, as long as we can, you know, as long as they let us.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty rad. Where's you guys have posted a lot of rides here. Where's like your favorite place that you and your son have ridden?
My favorite ride is that the 4130 subway ride, the Hollywood ride, right? They call it the subway ride because you start up in the corner of Hollywood and Highland. And those guys, I got to give nothing but love to the 4130 guys, the 41 Thursday guys. I ain't gonna lie, I steal a lot of their shit. I go down there just to pay attention. You know, I'm taking notes, man, you know, on how they do stuff because they do a lot of stuff right, you know, and but my favorite ride is to go down there and do that subway ride. You start up at the corner of Hollywood and Highland, you mob through LA on, you know, down Hollywood Boulevard and all through
the hot
LA.
Spots and stuff.
Yeah, and you wind up ending up in downtown LA and you get on, believe it or not, a subway in LA, and that takes you right back to the corner of Hollywood and Highland.
So, and they like let them know ahead of time that they're going to need extra subways and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that's a lot of organization to.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, you know.
Do that.
And the city really embraces them down there. You know, by the way, happy BMX Day. That was just this last Thursday, if you guys didn't know.
Shout out to BMX Day.
Right? And so they celebrate that down there. That's kind of a big thing, right?
Oh, right on.
And so every year they have, you know, National BMX Day. That's where it all started, right? So it's kind of a big thing down there. Their culture is really strong. But I like going down there and riding. I like riding on the beach down there. That's cool. You know, we went up to Seattle this year, and Seattle a lot like San Francisco. You know, a little rougher, I think. You know, the hills are a little steeper.
Oh, gotcha.
At least it felt that way because I'm maybe older and fatter. I don't know, but yeah, Seattle was fun. Really liked riding in Harlem. That was a good time. We got to go out there and ride with the boys and enjoy that shit. So
yeah, I want to go to the East Coast bad. Every person that I know from the East Coast, or at least like through Instagram or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I want to go ride out there. They're like, nah, no, you don't. No, you don't. It's too many hills, bro. I'm like, what? No, I want to come ride. But yeah,
No, East Coast
eventually.
is badass. Florida's badass. That's something that I've ridden out there. Florida's good. I enjoy that very much. I enjoyed New York a lot. Can't wait to get back out there and ride some more. It's just cool. It's cool getting that different scenery. You know, we get to see life differently on the back of a bike
Right.
than you do in a car or a train or a plane or even walking. You know, we
Yep.
get to experience things differently. So experiencing cities on the back of a bike is really cool to me.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I was just talking about that with Jason and them, just how you can see the city in like a whole new light. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
from a bike versus any other like means of transportation.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally. It gave me a new respect for Sacramento. You know what I mean? Living out there and driving everywhere I go for the most part, because Sac's really big, so it's not like you can just have a bicycle. And for what I do, I can't do it either. But still, yeah, it's definitely a trip.
Yeah, you ride through the same spot on a bike, and it's just, you know, for me, and I'm old, you know, I go back to some of the shit takes me back to when I was a kid riding a bike. You'll catch a smell or something, you'll see something, you
Yeah.
know, and it brings back memories, and it's just like reliving being a kid a little bit again in that regard. So it's really cool, and you don't get that in a car when you're flying by, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's just and riding at night opposed to day, you know, in certain places, you know.
Dude, I'm having trouble like seeing it. I need to go to the eye doctors.
Yeah,
my
that sucks.
night vision is terrible. Even when I'm at home, like in my house, bro, it's bad. So when we go on the night rides, I'm like, I got the big old hella bright lights and stuff. I don't care, bro. I need to see.
Oh yeah, hitting that pothole when you're
Oh.
up on one wheel, that's gonna hurt.
Oh
You know
yeah,
that?
yeah. Not knowing where the ground is hard to adjust for falling.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, and yeah, no, I went through that. You know, with the night stuff, and here, I prefer not to ride where it's pitch black, and I do have adequate lighting on the bike because of that. But but riding at night's fun because it's a different viewpoint. You get
Yep.
to see things differently and feel it differently, and you know, riding in the day is also great because again, it's just the way things look and
New
where you're at.
perception
The
of it.
activity level's different on the streets, you know, kind of a
Right.
thing, and you know,
Sound, smells, all that.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, right? Yeah,
Even at night too. Yeah, it's like quiet. You know, it depends on how late you're riding, but Sacramento's weird in some areas, man. You can go down certain streets in Midtown during the week, and it's like ghost town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty, especially during the winter too.
yeah. Other towns are cracking, or other streets are cracking too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Super alive.
No, I like Sac a lot. I like riding there. It's flat, you know. Anywhere it's flat, I like to ride.
I
That's
feel
always
it.
a
Yeah, I
good
don't like
thing.
hills either.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. That's like a prerequisite. You know, I love Felice and Santa Barbara, but boy, they got some hills there.
Yeah,
And they're long ass hills too.
yeah.
That,
You need a toe. You need a toe.
yeah, that boy stays in good shape. You know, that whole crew down
Oh
there.
yeah, bro.
And they're pushing hard. You know, I'd like to see that too. That's one of the things. You know, again, I go back to when we started doing this. There was a handful of us, and it wasn't, you know, up here there was a
Right.
handful of us, and when we see each other's crews growing and each other, you know, to watch what Damon's done in Stockton, to see what Dozier's done up in Sac, to see what Rickard's done is amazing, you know, and watching how each little town's grown and they've got their little clique, their little crew, you know,
Right.
of guys coming out, and consistency, you know, is really the key with all that. And seeing these guys being consistent and doing it and putting it out is huge, right? Because you'll see other guys they try, but they'll do one hitter
Sure.
quitters or do a couple here and there, and then they don't get that traction.
Right.
But by being consistent, you're seeing the formula for success. You see it in Stockton. You see it in North Sac. You see it in Elk Grove. You see it here in Santa Cruz. You know, you see it in San Jose. San Jose is growing. We got a group over there that rides every Tuesday night out of Campbell. And, you know, again, it started small, and now that it's catching fire, and things are working over there, and people are coming out. And, you know, everywhere that you have consistency with it, you're seeing the crews growing, and you're seeing that it's thriving, you know,
Totally.
which is awesome, you know?
Yeah. So for all of you out there who are wanting to start or thinking about starting your own ride, that right there, from across the board, from what I've heard from everybody who started their own ride that's successful with it, is the key is being consistent, which means putting in the work.
Putting in the work, baby. Pick a day, you know, and here's the thing, and I tell everybody this, you know, because I get a lot of people that come to me and they ask, you know, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, or can you support me? Can you, you know, show me some love or whatever? And of course, you know, we do that for anybody. You know, we want to see everybody succeed if we can. But the advice I give them is exactly that: consistent. You know, it doesn't have to be every week. If you're going to have a ride and it's going to be once a month, pick that day once a month and do it once a month. Period. I mean, period. Do it and make it where if you're doing it and you're trying to get the younger folks out, you got to give them something they can count on, man.
Right.
And if they count on it, they're going to be there. Right. You know, it's when you fail to show up, they're going to fail to show up.
Exactly. The motivation starts to get lost as far
consistency. As it goes. It's really the key to life, but especially this particular life right now with what we're in.
And you stay consistent with SE Bikes, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. That was one of those things, man. It's all that fucking Damon's fault. That's right. You know what I'm talking about, Debo. I've always had a thing for bikes. I used to race bikes back in the 70s, BMX bikes. It was never that good, but I had a lot of fun doing it, you know, and bikes have always been a part of my life to some degree. I found out what kind of bikes I like, what kind of bikes I don't like or don't like me, and mountain bikes don't like me. I shouldn't be on them, you know, kind of a thing. So
that's all funny.
Yeah, true. But we were living over here in Santa Cruz. You really, it's a small town. It's a town of 50,000 people, and in the summertime we swell to 350,000 people because all the hotels fill up and all the tourists and everything. So getting across town, what might take you 5 minutes in a car today is going to take you 2.5 hours in a car in July or June. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So riding bikes really is a necessity here. And we were pushing around beach cruisers for the longest time over here, you know, and those are the most inefficient bikes a guy can ride.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
We showed up, I want to say it was 2013, something like that, over in Manteca at one of our mutual friends, Damon and my friend's house. And Damon had just got the money bike, the white Big Ripper, and 24-inch flowable flyer for Skylar. And he let me ride that money bike, you know, right out of the box. And that was it, man. I was hooked. And, the first SE that I got was that Santa Cruz bike over there. And it was kind of a cool story with that whole thing. But that was like really what started it. I got that, and the same day Keith got a 24-inch SoCal flyer. Nice. And, I've owned over 50 SE bikes since then. And,
Quite the collection.
Yeah. What do you do? You know, it's crazy. It's a sickness, I guess, to some degree. And, at some point you realize, holy shit, I can't ride all of them.
Yeah. How do you ride them all?
Yeah, you don't. You don't. I've got bikes that I really love that I haven't literally touched in 3 years, and they're badass bikes. So it becomes unfortunate at some point, but somewhere down the road, I've got grandkids, I've got kids, and that's the other thing. I like Damon, I'm pretty open with letting people ride my bikes and use my stuff. So when people come around, we try to turn as many people on as we can. Yeah. And at first that was really what started the collection, because I wanted people to experience riding a Big Ripper or riding a bike that was different than their beach cruiser. So I'd let them ride my Big Ripper. Well, then I'm riding their shitty beach cruiser, right? You know what I'm saying? So then it became, okay, well, if I had another one.
Right, I wouldn't have to ride the beach cruiser.
Right. And then, okay, well, my daughter wants one, or my son wants one, so, and then as they started, getting into it as well, they wanted different bikes, and pretty soon, you don't have any room.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, just so you guys know, this is full of bikes too. I had to empty all this out so we could film in here. But yeah, he's got a lot of them.
Yeah, it's, but it's fun too. We enjoy it. We've learned a lot with the bikes. I've been able to teach the kids, and that's the other thing we have here is we open the doors, the garage, so to speak, to all the local kids that come around. We're not afraid to share and to help them out. And, my thing is, I probably got the part, because most of the stuff I take off of my SE bikes, I keep. And, when we replace it, so I've probably got the part if you got something broken, and I've got the tools, but I'm not going to do it for you. Yeah. I want them to learn.
Self-service.
Yeah. I want them to learn how to do it. I'll teach them, I'll tell them. And, it helps, because a lot of these kids, just simply don't know how to maintain their own bikes.
Sure.
they don't know, oh, my brakes are shit.
Well,
Adjust them.
fix them. Yeah.
Yeah, have you thought about putting some pads on that thing? My tire's flat. I can't ride my bike. Oh, that's the lamest story I ever heard.
Right.
You don't know how to take your rim off and fix a flat tire. So by showing these guys the how-tos,
Right.
giving them the tools to do it, give them some of the things they need, we go to Walmart, man, I'll buy 10 29-inch tubes, 5 26-inch tubes, whatever, and I just keep them in a box because the kids are going to need them. Someone's going to, shit, I might need them,
No kidding.
having them is not a big deal. And, but it also gives these guys an ability to learn about it, and it turns more people onto the bikes and gets them excited about, the bike life thing. And that's really what we've been trying to do. And, the SEs are just because that's really how it worked out. I couldn't tell you, I'm not I probably shouldn't say this on podcast, but I'm not a fan of the GT Performer bikes. I think the GT Heritage bikes are bomb. If you haven't ridden them, haven't tried them, go try them. They're kick ass. I like the look of them. A lot of the stuff with me, it's aesthetics.
Sure.
It's not necessarily performance, it's aesthetics. It comes down to performance at the end, but it's got to get me excited before I want it.
Yeah, totally. You got to want to ride it.
Yeah, you know. So I just never was a fan of that Performer. There's a lot of these companies out there making bikes, these high-end bikes that are badass. Craig Turner. Craig Turner makes some badass bikes. I don't know, I can tell you my sickness with this is expensive. I can't imagine, getting into a Turner or something like that. What that's going to do.
Fully custom frame fork up.
Yeah, I see these guys, and God bless them, but they're $2,500, $3,000 into a bicycle.
Yeah,
and
into one of them versus your three.
Yeah, and I upgrade our shit. I put
Crazy.
really high end parts on what we do when we make upgrades, and some of these bikes I got a ton of money in, but I don't have anywhere near $2,500 in any of the bikes, and so for me it's just I could have 5 bikes instead of 1. So that's really been the motivation to not go down that rabbit hole,
Sure. Yeah, I feel it. I know I think about that every once in a while. I'm like, oh, that'd be so dope, but man, I'd just get consumed in that, and that would be when you could purchase a decent car for the same amount of money, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, and that really is what it comes down to. Is it's just, you can buy a car when you start equating it to other things.
Yeah,
and it's like it's cool, but is it that cool? And do I have all the other cool shit that I want?
Right.
Other than that, no. There's a bunch of stuff that don't have anything to do with bikes that I would rather have if I was going to drop $2,500. My old lady could go drop $2,500 and not even blink an eye. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't take 5 minutes. And so you got to really think about that too. At least where I'm at is, hey, this is fun. And we do a lot with the travel too. So the more I spend on bikes, the less I can spend traveling and doing the stuff that we want to do, And we bought a Sprinter van 2 years back. Just we've always had Volkswagens, and we've had Euro vans, and particularly they're a family van. It was easy because I could, literally max out at 5 bikes and 5 bodies in a Euro van. I had a 4-bike rack, and I could always stuff a bike inside, get 5 people in the thing, and down the road we roll. Right now I comfortably take 8 bikes and 8 bodies down the road, and we can stuff 10 in that thing.
Nice.
Right
so on.
We're a rolling party when we show up.
I bet, yeah. Well, yeah, I've seen you guys pull up. It's quite the exit when the van door opens.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's kind of cool. That's fun. So we do a lot of stuff around the bikes too, to make it fun and to do extra stuff.
When did you get in? Have you always had bikes like your whole entire life?
Yeah, my whole life I've had bikes. Pretty much. It's just when I was a kid, I grew up in Modesto, and it's funny. There's a group over there putting a ride on right now that are kind of coming around, and I'd love to see it. And I think they call themselves the 209 Rippers.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, they're doing a ride coming up this next weekend on the 23rd, I believe it is. They're in Modesto, and they're going to meet up. But that being said, I somehow got in a group chat with these guys through Instagram, and somebody brought up, places to go in Modesto, and I'm like, oh, you got to hit up the trails by Dry Creek and this and that. Yeah. But yeah, that's where I really grew up as a kid, and in the 70s, down there we had spots. The the biggest hill in town was called Devil's Hill, and we used to ride our BMX bikes down there and ride the jumps. It was badass. I mean, this thing was massive. And back then, the technology again wasn't anywhere.
Right.
I mean, you know, I think at the time I was on a Huffy. It wasn't even a BMX bike.
Right.
You know, we're hucking them on that thing. And we had another little spot called Widowmaker down there, and the trails along the river. I mean, that's really where we cut our teeth as kids, and then raced a little bit in the late 70s. But I always had bikes. We've always had them in our life, you know, and in some fashion or another. Again, I tried that mountain biking thing for a minute and crashed and burned. That wasn't no fun.
Yeah, you can get really hurt mountain biking, bro. Especially out here, you guys have the trails to really get down.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, they've got a hill here that's a place here called Demolition Forest, and it's just crazy. Yeah, you know, any type of terrain you could ever imagine wanting to ride here in Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah.
So it's dangerous and it's extremely expensive, and that's really
Talk about buying a car for a bike. Those are $3,500, $4,500 off the showroom floor.
Yeah, for some of the cheap ones, you know, some of the cheap ones. So, you know, Family Cycling's here in Santa Cruz. They do wonderful by us. We love them. They're our sponsor. They take care of us. And I will tell you that they have bikes on that showroom that are $10,000 plus, you know, full carbon bikes. And yet they still sell the SEs and still service the BMX community in a huge way here. And, Santa Cruz is full of bike shops. At one point, and I think it still holds true, but there was 28 bike shops in Santa Cruz, in a little bitty town of Santa Cruz, right? 28 bike shops. So there's so many bike shops here. There's another bike shop here in town called ABS, and ABS stands for another bike shop. So that's awesome. How many freaking bike shops there are. Man. But out of all those bike shops, when we got into these SEs, you know, like anything, we're buying a price point bike.
Sure.
So there's things that are going to fail on the bike, and there's certain things that you just don't know when you first get into something. And one of the things was the pinch bolt that goes into the end of the cranks that hold them on. Those, if you don't Loctite them and keep them tight, they back out and fall out. And then what do? Well, back then, now there's a lot more access because there's a lot more SEs out there. There's a lot more shops that sell them. But here in Santa Cruz, I went around to probably a dozen of those 28 bike shops trying to get somebody to help me out. And there was a couple of bike shops that said they were SE dealers, and everybody pretty much gave me the bird and told me, you know, hit the road, guy. You know, we can't help you over that $5 bolt kind of a thing, right? Go to the hardware store. Literally what I got is go to the hardware store. And I walked into Family Cycling, and young lady named Kristen there is like, oh, I can take care of you. Calls SE, calls the warranty department, and gets me 2 of those pinch bolts, right? I mean, hella cool, right? So that really started a relationship there with Family because I realized they really care. You know, they knew it was a $5 part. They knew it was, they weren't going to make a killing on me.
Sure.
And chances are, if I got to buy a $5 part, I'm probably riding a cheap ass bike.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
Right. So, and they're selling, you know, $5,000-$10,000 mountain bikes. Why do they want to mess with me? That's really why the other shops, you know, kind of
good customer service.
Yeah. They didn't take care of me. But this shop has really taken care of us all of the Bikelife community here in Santa Cruz, especially. And they're one of the top SE dealers around. Definitely the best one here in Northern California. They've been killing the game with it. Bob over there, Kristen, John, they're just amazing to work with. And, you know, they ask us for our input. You know, what do we see? What do we like? What do we think the trends are going to be? Which is really cool to me. That's kind of an honor, you know.
Yeah.
And they're asking us about the parts. What should we stock? I mean, how many bike shops are...
Smart for them, man. You guys get what you want, and they make sales,
Yeah, you know, like earlier we sent Rich over to get bottom brackets, right? Told him they're going to have this because that's what we run.
Right.
And they had exactly that. But they're willing to bring in stuff and cater to us where other shops, you know, and I think more shops now are trying to get on that level. Yeah, they're starting to see, hey, you know, not just here locally. I mean, we've got a shop over in San Jose that's amazing, Calabasas. You know, Rob over there does a tremendous job. He's always been in the BMX community. He's exclusively BMX, and he does a great job with his crew over there. And it's really nice to see. But really, these are price point bikes, and that's what drives the people in to buy them. You can get one of these bikes for under $1,000. You can ride it and get a lot of enjoyment out of it. you know, at the end of the day. And, you know,
Yeah, you would be shocked at what a bicycle could do for your life.
oh yeah.
I mean, if you got anything going on, man, it definitely hones in just your keeping you present. You know what I mean? Just it's different. It's
Oh,
different.
yeah. And, you know, one of the things you're going to learn, especially, you know, as we get older in life, man, is if you don't use it, you lose it. You got to keep moving. When
Yep.
you quit moving, that's when shit seizes up. That's when shit doesn't work anymore, you know?
Right.
So really, you know, get on a bike, go out, walk, do things that make you happy. And I promise you, you'll feel better at the end of the day when you go out and ride for 5 or 10 miles.
Yeah.
You know, and then pretty soon you're putting in 20 miles, and pretty soon it's
And then 20 miles feels like nothing
Yeah.
after a while. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and you feel good, and then your endorphins are going, and you want to do it, you
Yep.
know, and then your buddies are benefiting from it too, because they see you out having a good time, and they want to go have that good time, you know. So yeah,
It's addictive.
it's
That's
addictive.
for sure.
It's addictive in a good way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Totally.
other shit we could be doing.
Much worse other stuff.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
yeah, dangerous. I mean, everything's dangerous,
Sure.
you know, and it's we've been doing dangerous shit our whole lives.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
You know, this is less dangerous than most.
Yeah. And it definitely has like a more positive backing than anything else that I've done that was,
Yeah, you know, when I was
fun
a
and
kid,
dangerous in my life.
we skateboarded, right? And that was kind of a thing. And that was when that whole skateboarding's not a crime thing,
Right,
right? That was
yeah.
like a big deal. And they would, were we shitheads? Yeah, 100%, you know. But were we trying to hurt anybody? Nah, we're just out trying to have fun. Just really like what we're doing right now with this. I
Sure.
really see where we're at with bike life very similar to back then when skateboarding's not a crime was going on, kind of a thing.
Right.
They were worried. A lot of the business owners didn't want us grinding on their curbs,
Yep.
doing stuff like that, grinding on their rails. You know, we were tearing their stuff up, their parking blocks, or this and that. Which, hey, I get that.
So that's the difference, though, is it because I just grew up skateboarding too, and it's like, yeah, that was kind of destructive to
Yes.
some extent. You know what I'm saying? But what we're doing is absolutely not.
Yeah,
On the
pretty
bikes.
harmless for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I've seen some of the guys do some stupid shit, kick over signs, you know, but that's just stupid kid shit that happens, right?
Sure.
But
Somebody walking down the street could have done that.
I see a lot
I mean,
worse on a
yeah.
daily basis, right here in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, you ever seen a drunk person walk down the street in the middle of the night?
Yes. Go to San
They're messing up
Francisco,
everything.
bro, because you don't want to step in that. That might not be dog.
Yeah,
that might
yeah.
be human. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
So it's really not a destructive thing at all, what we do. And it's real positive. And I think for the most part, people see that, you
Yeah.
know. We had a lady, I don't know, about a year ago. We were downtown. We were meeting at the clock tower on Wednesday night. And we'd actually just got done with her ride that night. And we had met up back at the clock tower where we originally meet. And this lady pushing a stroller had a little like 2 or 3 year old toddler with her, and had a stroller with a baby, and it comes up. She's like, hey, you. I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, I mean, I get it all. I get everything from, you know, you're an asshole to, you know, I can't believe, you know, and I'm thinking, okay. But the thing I found is that when somebody wants to approach you, approach them, but do it in a kind, open way.
Neutral, yeah.
Right, kind of be neutral. And so I go, okay, I'm going to go over and see what she wants, you know. And the lady goes, you're amazing. And I'm like, totally
Thanks.
took me off guard,
Yeah.
right? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
I'm amazing. And she's like, you're amazing. She's like, I've been watching you over the last several months riding with all these guys out here. And she goes, you ride right through the middle and these kids are wheeling right by you and doing everything. And she goes, it's almost like ballet, how it's orchestrated, how everybody does their thing. And she's like,
That's
you
so
don't
funny.
even flinch. And I'm like, yeah, I trust them.
Yeah.
You know, I've been riding with these guys long enough that, you know, I know that, you know, if something happens, it's
worms.
really a mistake. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. No worms. And that's crazy too. You bring that up because that's become more of a thing, you know. Learn your control before you start wheeling around people, you know. Go wheelie a cone. You want to really be a tough guy? Go wheelie at the basketball hoop at your school.
Yeah.
You hit that thing once or twice,
Yeah.
you'll understand.
You'll learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But don't do it in a crowd until you're comfortable and confident, and then be confident on it, you know?
Yeah. Because you might not care that you're falling, but the person that you wreck into probably isn't going to be very prepared for it.
And I will run you the fuck over.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that ain't no joke either. We have that talk, and I tell the guys, look, if I don't have rules. I don't come out, and that's the other thing. A lot of these guys want to have rules with what's going on, and they want to talk about, don't do this, don't do that. Oh my God, these kids and this and that. So one of my things has always been, when I was a kid and I was doing stupid shit, I didn't want to hear I was doing stupid shit. Yeah. And if somebody told me that, I ain't coming around. Right. You know what I mean? And these guys aren't doing anything that bad. So the few handful of rules that we have are pretty simple.
Right.
Number one, if you run into somebody from behind, I don't care what they were doing, it's your fault. Right?
It's like rear-ending a car, bro.
It's like rear-ending a car. So if that kid's doing a wheelie standing on his handlebars, jacking off and falls down, and you run into him, you shouldn't have been behind him. You're bad. And on that same thing too, I tell the kids, if you do that in front of me and you fall down and I run you over,
don't get mad.
Don't get mad because, I'm not going to be mad at you for falling in front of me. I'm just going to run you over. Right? I mean, it's simple. But, you can't get up and be angry over stupid shit, right? No. Accidents happen. And as long as you pay attention and stay within your skill set, everything's fine. So that's one thing. Look, if you get hit from behind, the guy that just hit the guy from behind, don't be mad. And the guy, if you're doing a trick and you fall down and you did something outside your ability and you fell down and got ran over, you can't be mad at the guy that ran you over because you were out of your zone,
right.
Kind of a thing. So that's real simple. And then, I don't appreciate, and I tell them, the cars, people are going to have something to say. People are going to have something to say. And the worst thing we can do is say something back.
Right.
Just keep riding. And as long as we stick to the two basic things out there, right? Everybody gets along. It's copacetic, right? But when one of these guys has something to say back, and some of the stuff, man, trust me, I've been in the middle of it too. It happens. But it's easier to keep pedaling and to get away from the situation because things can escalate really quickly. And I don't think we've, in so far that I've seen, had a really bad situation occur, but that potential is there every time a confrontation occurs, right?
Right, totally.
And you never know who has what on them. And,
exactly.
Just saying F you to somebody, you don't know what he's sitting there gripping on.
Yeah, not only that, like you said, you don't know what anybody has. And if they do happen to have a gun and you say something to them and you're with a mob of people, dude, they're going to be in a position of like fear. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And they're going to wield that thing if they feel necessary. You never know. You know what I mean? 120 people mob up on bikes after they just said, fuck you.
Dude, I know fools who don't even need that. They're just looking for that reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they're just looking for that reason. You did what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you got to be careful out there. And it doesn't need to occur. There's just certain things that just don't need to occur, and that's one of them. Keep your mouth shut. Keep pedaling. We can talk all the shit we want about them after they're gone. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're gonna pull over. We're gonna hang out.
Yeah, because what difference are you gonna make anyways? Even if you do say something, you know what I mean?
No, confrontation doesn't work. You know that, and so yeah, we try to keep it simple and keep everybody happy. Keep everybody on one wheel out here having fun.
Nice. Well, right on, man. I think we gotta wrap it up here.
Nice.
Anything you wanna?
No, I just want to give a shout out to SE Bikes, Corrosive, Family Cycling. They've taken good care of us. We love it. Everybody out there, thanks for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll see you on the streets.
Right on, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. We're about to go ride. I'll catch y'all next week.